Sky's too much time trying to get into it now. Cover fielders where he's thinking.
Switch shot as well.
Sweep over that mid wicket that's in the circle, straight over his head, stay behind there.
There is Hamilton. What's up?
Strikes at near 200 against Southampton. The Skies only knocked him over once. Sixth time he's hit him for six.
Immediately, and it was a deep square leg. So around deep wicket around there. Now, Sky, if he wants to get the sweep stroke, you get hard at the square leg umpire. Or naturally then just check around behind.
Yes, sir. Similar shot,
but timed even better. What catches the crowd? You don't need to go square when you can turn a lot.
Yes, that front leg was it's power, he creates that angle, slots with the elbow, keeps it within. This time he gets plenty of back with it.
Catching the crowd too.
Nicely taken. You just enjoyed that extra pace on it there. That's 92 k's. So then tried to go at the stumps. Just right to the arc. Yeah, nice catch.
83.4 went for 6, 92.6 went for 6. Just sneaks it in the line. No, it's a late call. Late call. Umpire Rod Tucker.
Good, so the square leg got hit it flat and come as well. It's not taking them long to get into the groove. Marietta.
And you can see how that affects Shubman Gill now. It's the over India needed. He took on the back of it. Over that had a dismissal in it. So that's great leadership, great captaincy. Sky, keeping momentum. What is that fine leg? So 3 out on the leg side.
50-50 when the second wicket fell. India picked up 12%. Time down the ground, so a positive over for the tourists. They take 18 from it, 2 for 108. Partnership 20 from 9, boosted by those 2 sixes in that last over.
You see a little bit of loop there. It was a bit more top edgish. You didn't quite get the power through the line of the ball with that the kick pace on it, right in the strike zone.
The difference in speed of the one he didn't get was 17 kilometres.
Sliced underneath the top edge, the first one, 71 metres. Just enough, landed right on the top of the run, didn't it? But nice to take.
Getting a variety from Stoinis this evening.
out straight away.
Out. It's a fair delivery. He's got the front of those. Yeah, thank you. We're going to go to RDS. Looks like a potential deviation there, but we'll check with RDS, please. Yeah, definitely have a spike and a deviation in the front door. We will go back on field to the umpire. Phil, we're going to get you to change your original decision of out to not out.
All the DRS in the game originally came in, that's what it was for. Overturn decisions like that. Oh, well done on Storms.
Yeah. Look at that in his hand there, should feel it. I was told the two-tone wood. That light colouring down and then the darker colouring. They ones that just seem to ping off all the time. Yeah, you just go hunting for those.
Close grains.
Close range, yeah, you don't want the big, big white grain.
Well, that bat seems to be working okay. That's big. Shook and Gill. Belts it over mid-wicket. Whatever to do with the grain on the bat, the skill of the bat.
That was ease. What a classy touch that was. That's worth the price of admission in itself. Just there's the result of the momentum that Sky's brought to the match. His batting partner, all of a sudden, it's in the zone and just complete control.
It's got right out of the screws, that one. Lovely sound when
Yeah.
bat made contact with the ball.
Briggs this time. You go back and have a look at that six and listen to it. It sounded just like Mr. Cricket's voice when he's playing his fake cover drives. Let's have a listen to that off the bat of Shook and Gill.
So it's the best feeling in the game, isn't it? Certainly from a batting point of view. Not so much if you've just struggled in and bowled it. Just that's second you know, and only you know.
Very short and slow. Gets away with it.
No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. Scored now.
The late call to annoy the Aussies, but partnership 29 off 13.
140 speed out. It's the distance. No, that Fox, he doesn't get a run in the internationals, does he?
No, he's a big bash.
Another wide.
So good last 10 ball position from his one. Big last over. 3 sixes hit in that span of time. 2 by Surya Kumar Yadav, 1 by Shubman Gill.
So that's 101 metres. So Sid Dave the other night was 28 metres further than that. So can we just explain for everyone going out to pick up a new Kookaburra this weekend, what type of wood do we want to look at? We'll have a look at Shubman's bat.
Two tones. See that darker on the inside edge? Is that nice redness, redwood to it? And that lighter colour.
Scientific theory, or is this just a cricket sort of, wild tale?
Just a feel
I think
thing.
that's the vibe.
The aesthetic of it. There are some bats you just look down when you're standing over, you just look down, they feel better in the hand. Yes, absolutely. Nice that.
Feel around there. Their move now, 14-2, 1-2-1.
There's some of the bats. Yeah. Quality of bat making has gone to another level. The way they press it, you can almost immediately take it. Again. Players know exactly what they want. Some of them want curve of the bat, some want close grains.
You used to have to knock them in a little bit, didn't you? Time, what was your favourite way, Ralph?
Put the oil in it,
Yeah,
get
put
the
it in
oil
some
in
oil.
it, and then knock it all in the socks.
Yeah.
Giving it a whack.
Ball the sock off the balcony's hard to beat. Oh, a goaler, isn't it? India surging now at 62.
The neighbours that weren't cricket freaks weren't overly appreciative of it, but the noise.
David Miller. Throw it! Hits the stumps again with Ellis. Once over Shuman Gill. He's one innings done for there. Ellis with the answers. Done 46.
He's so good. He's so skillful. Again, taking pace off. And you can see Shuman Gill way too early into the shot. This is real good skill. It comes out in the same arm swing from the back of the hand. Pitches on the seam, just comes back in a bit, crashes into off stump. He's the man amongst the wickets in this
Last
T20
week,
series.
here,
Gill goes for 46.
हमारे
It's 3 for 1 2
हमारे भी
8 wickets for the series now for Nathan Ellis. Tilak Barmer, the new man, he's an exciting young cricketer.
High in the rankings too, isn't he? Top 3, number 3 in the T20 international rankings.
Has been two.
Has been too.
You told us the other night.
Politely pointed that out to us.
अंदर
Very engaging young man, Tilak Barmer.
बुद्धि वाला
That's type of bowling again, Nathan Ellis. Should be able to see.
बुद्धि परीक्षा ना बच्चे देगे वगैरह ना पढ़ना को अच्छा हमने तो एक लाख पढ़ा ना पढ़ी वाला अगर दी स्कूल में व्यक्ति दे रहे तर आम्ही मॅच पारी मॅच गेलाम तर रुपये हिस्ट्री देखलो बा जे जड़ा पारो ওরে কুশন মনে নে গেলি যা আজ না পরীক্ষা কিছু না কিছু কুশন জমা করলি মানে নে যায় আনসার বানাই নে গেলি নে যায় ব্যাক কেজে আমি সলভ করলাম নবি ফেলে করলে তো তোর পড়াটা হইতাছে পুরা পুরা তোর নলেজটা বাড়তাছে তুই যে কোনো এক্সাম আমাকে ক্র্যাক করা হবে একটা হতে না পেলে আরেকটা তো পাবি শুনে কুশন তো সব ধরনের একই ধরনেরই থাকে খালি হিস্ট্রি কিনা চেঞ্জ হয় তোর সেন্ট্রাল এক্সাম হলে বাদা লেভেল কিনা বাইরে জায়গা আসামের হলে বাদা আসামের ভিতরে থাকে এই নিশে পার্থক্য এটা করলে কি জানি তো
গেটের কই দিন আগে অ্যাপ্লাই দিল
হ্যাঁ
4 গেট 8 গেটে
ফোর্থ গেট তো দেরি আছে আর রেলওয়েটা তখন ধরেন 1 লাখ বইরে পরীক্ষা পাওয়া যাবে না কোচিং করে নেবো তাহলে সে আর পড়বার গেলে ওদের আন্ডারি সব বাদ দিয়ে খালি পড়া থাকা নেবো তাহলে সে না হবো না এখন তার সব বাদ দেওয়া করে পড়ার তাহলে থাকার টাইম নেই তখন পরীক্ষা দিলে ভালো হবে না ভালো হলে তোর না দেওয়া হবে
টাইম লস হবে দিলে দেওয়ার মতো নেই
তোর আরো দেখছুন যদি পারা প্লান কেউ থাকে যারা পরীক্ষা দিবার চায় তোর না তার ফিজিক্যাল জানায় না খালি রাইটিংয়ে তো খালি কম্পিউটারে 2 টাকা পরীক্ষা জানায় একটা নাম্বার কল মারছে দিয়ে কোনো গেল না
It's not easy to seem to come down cold. Not right. It's going the other way. Commands great control, long practice.
মোবাইল আজকে এটা দেখেছিলেন নাকি?
Makes it really effective.
এটা আমি রাখছি এখানে মোবাইলে কল চলাবার নিয়ে লাইক 7638 0187 08 এখন এটা তো আমার একটা ভাবতেছি বুঝছো জব যদি নাও পাই তাহলে একটা মার্কেটিং যেমন হবো যারা পরীক্ষার জন্য প্রিপারেশন করতেছে ভবিষ্যতে প্ল্যান বাজাবো পড়ানোর জন্য কোচিং ইনস্টিটিউটে যাবো এখন আমি ভাবতেছি ওই লাইনে কল লাগিয়ে নেই মোবাইল নিয়ে গেছে না থেকে গেছে তাও কাম নাই না কোন হলো
ব্যাক মারো।
কো
নাম্বার আছে সামনে।
থেট ফেল না কোনটা
2 নম্বর।
পরীক্ষা দিলে ওইটাই করো না গো নাহলে মিলবো না
ওদিকে ওই বেশি টাইম না, ডেইলি
তুই
1 ঘন্টা করে টাইম
পরীক্ষা
দিবা।
এবার অ্যাপ্লাই আছে না তোর 2-3 মাস পরে কোথাও এক্সাম হয় না যে কয় দিনই হয় তোর কি একটা তো পড়া হবি এবার বাড়িতে বেকার বয়ে থাকার থেকে বাড়িতে তো পড়া হবই না মিশা কথা রাগ ওঠে না কোন মোবাইল থেকে দিয়েছে অগরে ডালস
তাহলে ডাইরেক্ট
কানে ফাওয়াই হয় না বেশি দিলে ওরা কানের ভিতরে যায় ফুরফুর করে না
ফুরফুর ওটা ভালো বেশি করে যখন কানে ডাক্তার জানি না সাফ করে দেয় আগে দিয়ে দেবো একদম গড়গড় করবো না পুরা যেন এক্সট্রা মহিলা ওটা তো নরম হবই যেন হালকা হালকা থাকবে তোর একজন একদম সব বেরিয়ে গেল আ করে দেয়
আমি অত দিই না দিলে ওরা কেউ জানি ভিতরে পানি পানি থাকিয়ে যায় মনে হয়
থাকবে ওটা ভালো আর কানটা একদম পুরো ক্লিয়ার হয়ে গেল রাস্তা এত কাম হইলে সাফ করা ভিতরে যায় এটা ক্ষতি নাই এটা বেশিরভাগ বাচ্চা মানুষের এটা বেশি ভালো সাফ করবে তাহলে বাচ্চারা পুরো টাকা দিয়ে তুমি করে খেয়াল তুলা
তোলা নাই রে রেলে দিয়ে কিনছিলাম খেলা রেলে সব বসতে হয় ভাই তখন ভাবতেছি যদি তোর জব না হয় রাস্তা একটা বাইরে যাবো তা যদি কোচিংয়ের লাইন তুই বাইকের না হারাস বেশি না 30-40 জন প্ল্যান হইলে বাদে কাফি
ফুটফুট করে না একটু দিতে ফুটফুট করতেছে ভালো খেতে দেওয়া হোক দেন দিলে ও বেকার দিলে চলে এবার
আমার তুই তুই দে আমার উল্টা পাল্টা হবো
দেন কিছু না এটা কোনো ক্ষতি নাই ফালাইনি নাই আমি ঠেলা দিছি যত ময়লা আছে সব বাইরে
আবার মারে দেখছো ফোন রাখেন না নাই
কোনো কিছু মোবাইল নিয়ে টিসি
তাই না কোন গেল
টিসি
কি বানলে এয়ারটেল নেই
নেটওয়ার্ক সফটওয়্যার প্রবলেম
Big stripes.
এটা এটা আগে ছাওয়াই নি তারপরে
Slow one.
ভাত খামো রাগ উঠে না এটার উপরে কই জানা কমপ্লিকেট আছে
Jake Weatherall, that famous big bash cat, just hitting support in the background. Just cannot secure anything you can see. That little ruck around in support. Yeah. As Timmy David did there. There you go, that's good support.
Normally they've got to sit in their chair and look at the crowd. They shouldn't be out on the road. She wanted it. She wanted it. She catch that as it went over the road.
Jake Weatherall, wasn't it? Got it from Ben Lachlan all those years ago.
Ben Lachlan
And
definitely flicked it.
yeah, it was Jake Weatherall. Congratulations to Jake into the
Squad.
squad.
Don't know whether he's going to play or not.
Wasn't just in the back of the box. He was seeing him in the end.
Yeah.
Right?
Might ask him.
Four for one. Talk about the Ashes. Only place to watch it this summer. 4K, Ultra HD, no ad breaks in play. Cameras floating down, interviewing the players out in the middle of the ground. All sorts, 4-5 tests. Got Mark Moore in commentary. Analysis innovation begins on November 21. Only place this summer. Do not miss it. Tremendously exciting moment.
That's right. Always nice bit of chat for us. Just like count over as much leading as
That's the problem, that's for sure. That's probably because of the way they sort of finished 24 months.
Fantastic team to watch.
there's a bit of uncertainty about the Australian team as well. And the English team, all who's going to be fit for them. What bowling attack are they going to dish out first test match in Perth?
अपडेट दिया रहा है इन्होंने
Because it's really good from Australia. Pushing the ball early, lose a couple of wickets, and Australia's been right on top. They were going well. 125 for 2, and now it's suddenly 5 for 135. He gets the double that, and a pretty straightforward chance.
Rolled off his arm straight to Inglis. Zampa with the answers as per. So they found the North 5, 5-1, 3-1. 3 for 10 off 13 as Australia work back to it. Washington Sundar. Hand to the crease.
Yeah, good player. Seven. It's not easy to come in and tee off. Late in the innings when the ball's a bit softer. 3 quick wickets go down. Fox played Washington. Quickest target 7 to 8 metre length. Bouncer and pace off outside the eye line. Spinner's full and taking the stuff which Adam Sanders is very good at.
49 not out, 23 over. Late in the order. Just timing the ball. You do the other night.
এটাই দিন এটা টন্টো না বাইরে
বাইরে
বসে
বসে রে কে আছে কি
মুস মুস করতেছে কানের ভিতরে চাই নেই
Decide to review it. Fed up by Pareto, we have a review for LBW on the decision for that. Yeah, it's not fun. Thank you, Robert. Rock and roll. Go to RTS when available. That's the front log. It's available. Thank you. Flat line, flat line. Completely away from the glove. Had no back involved. Tracking when available. Pitching in line. Impact in line. Indeed, the Boston Adams Zampa got three. Thought he might have got outside the line, but just missed his front pad. Sliding up his where's the danger when you swing the Adams Zampa straight line. And the Australians are fighting back. Showing about three. 136 now.
What's good, people, and welcome to a bit of a different video than the ones I made in the past. I'm going to break down the exact business model that has allowed me to make $60,000 a month in take-home profit at 19 years old, and my entire story and my life journey leading up to this point, because the past year has been insane. It's currently the 22nd of September, 2025. I'm sitting in a 4-story villa in Stockholm, Sweden, that I decided to rent for the week. The city that I grew up in and that has shaped me as a person. And I probably speak for a lot of people when I say that if you try to do anything exceptional, if you're from Sweden, or it might be the same for a lot of countries, but I can only speak for Sweden since that's where I'm from. You're often frowned upon and looked at as an outcast if you try to do exceptional things. And if you have big dreams and big goals, you're looked at as an arrogant person, and you should stay grounded, do the same thing that everyone else is doing. And I always knew that I was going to do some exceptional stuff in my life. I've always known that I was going to not only do something outside of the norms, but achieve some big things and quote unquote become successful. And I was always the kid that said you don't need to study to become successful. You don't need to go to school to make a lot of money. ever since I was 13, 14 years old, like realizing that there was other ways to make money. That was like my identity. That was my saying. I've been saying it to countless people in my family and friends around me, and any person that ever doubted like that way of building a life and a career for yourself. I was always like sticking up for what I believed in. I always hated school. I never had any hardships. I was always like the smart kid, but I just hated school. I hated being thrown around and not being like the sole decision maker of my life. And I know that a lot of other people feel that way as well. I always knew that I was never going to work a 9 to 5. I've been fortunate enough to never work a 9 to 5 in my life. You know, ever since I started to see that it was possible to make money online, I went all in on trying to educate myself and learn about it. I was always an athlete. I've been competing in my sport at a very high level since I was, 8 years old. I started when I was 8 years old. And I think that's where I learned that I was exceptional in some way and that I could pretty much achieve anything that I put my mind to. And about 4 years ago, I started to, I love the athlete side of things and the sport that I did, but really what I had a big passion for was the business side of things and making money online. That's been my number one passion since I was, as I said, 13 years old. Even though I didn't make any money for a long time, I just knew that was going to be my life. And I started to look into all different business models, drop shipping, trading. I even, sold a few products online. I started a clothing brand. I did some print on demand, like Etsy, drop shipping, stuff like that, which I made some small money. And it's not an impactful business model. It was still enough for me to like see that it's possible. I do believe that that's the way God works. And, not everything is here to last forever, but even if you achieve some stuff, it's here to teach you and show you that you can achieve bigger things in the future. And leading up to last year of school, I was heading into my third and final year of high school. And in Sweden, you start school in like middle of August. And during summer, you always feel like summer is gonna last forever. And then you get to like late July, beginning of August, and you realize that it's coming to an end. And I had a feeling, just like this overwhelming feeling that I've never had before in the beginning of August last year, that I had to make a change. I knew that I was not going to do the last year of school. I just hated school. I was not aligned with the people that were around me. And some people can push through that. Like some people are fine with like, I'll do the last year of school, or I'll push through these last 3 months of my job, or whatever it is. I just can't do that. When I had enough, I'm making a change that day. And it led me to, I felt like I need to make some money in the first 2-3 weeks of school. I have to find a reasonable way for me to drop out, because otherwise my parents are going to ask why I'm not in school. So I hired my first mentor shortly after I discovered the agency model of online business. I truly believe that it's one thing to make money online, but it's another thing to make money with something that's impactful and something that you're proud to say, and you can stick your chest out and say that this is what I do for a living. That's a different feeling. Even if you do drop shipping or trading, you're not providing any value to the world or to the marketplace. You can make millions of dollars selling glowing teddy bears on the internet, but when somebody asks you what you do for a living, that's not what you want to tell. So I found the agency models. That was like the first thing that hit home. It was like, okay, this is something that I can see myself for. I hired my first mentor in the beginning of August last year, so 13 months ago. And that was a big thing for me, not only the business knowledge, but also feeling like I was a part of something big. That really takes some of the imposter syndrome away when you start to build a network and you have people close to you that you can talk to. You don't feel like you're alone in a world full of people that want to pull you to the ground and say that, you're arrogant if you try to achieve big goals or you have big dreams. You actually have, some people on the other side that can lift you up. Shortly after, about 3 weeks after, he asked me if I wanted to come to Dubai because he was throwing a client retreat. And me, still having started that last year of school, I was like, I don't want to go to Dubai. It feels way out of my comfort zone, but it's probably the better alternative at this point. I booked a one-way ticket 2 days prior. It was the Thursday, and I had booked the flight for Saturday. And I told my parents on the Friday, this is going to sound insane, but I'm going to Dubai tomorrow, which like no Swedish people I've ever, I'm not saying no Swedish people I've ever done, but it's very uncommon for an 18-year-old kid like that to just go to Dubai. And them not having any context on it, like that was That was definitely a surprise for them. And when I land in Dubai, I take my taxi towards my hotel and I just see the Burj Khalifa. I knew that was like the starting point of something big. I knew that I was not going to be in some classroom or any of the same like location that I've been in back in Stockholm. That was like the start of something big. I'm in Dubai for a week and then I get back home to Stockholm. I speak to my teachers and they say that we can make a deal customized for your situation that says that I can do the studies from home. I don't have to be there physically. That was like the starting point, me knowing that this was the shift that I've been looking for all of summer. And at that point, I just stayed locked in my room for the entire fall of 2024, basically. I do anything that I can to get my first client, start to make some money and really change my life for the better, if you will. And I remember signing my first client for the agency back then for $7,000 US. That was my first ever client, and they paid me in full $7,000 US. That was the first time where I felt like, okay, this is what I do for a living. I'm not just trying to build an agency at this point, but this is like when people ask me, what do you do? This is what I do now. I have clients that see the value in what I'm providing, and it not only felt good for me because I was able to make some money online, but it also felt like I was providing something valuable to them, and they were happy with the services that I was providing. And that's the best feeling, being able to provide value to companies and growing their business, building great relationships with clients that would happily pay you multiple 4, if not 5 figures for your service and for you to help them out on their journey. And fast forward a year, I've been to Dubai 4 times at this point, been in Cape Town, I've met friends all over the place, we've traveled to every single country in Europe you can imagine. I've grown my business to $60,000 a month in profit. I'm making 2 to 3 yearly salaries every single month as a 19-year-old high school dropout, if you want to call it that. But most of all, I have full financial time and location freedom. I can be in this villa that I've rented in Stockholm for a week. I can go to every single country that I want, and I can work whenever I want. I literally woke up at 11 a.m. because I went to bed at 3 a.m. because I sat working from 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. Not because I had to, but just because I had to work on some new projects. It's a beautiful life, and I want to show you the technicalities of this business model, because if you can learn this too, you can really change your life for the better. And the year that I've lived and experienced for the past year has been the best year of my life. I felt like my 19 years of age is like divided into 2. It's like my 18 years leading up to that last summer, and then my year ever since then. I want every single one of you watching this video to experience that for yourself as well, because it's one of the coolest feelings and something that's worth pursuing for sure. So I'll break down the exact business model and how it works and how you can get started doing exactly that for yourself. How I make $58,000 a month selling AI to local businesses at 19 years old without knowing how to code. The problem that we're facing is the following. 83% of businesses worldwide claims that their number 1 priority this year, 2025, was to implement AI into their business. And there's been studies on this, and only 20% of businesses are learning how to use it. Most local businesses will go bankrupt in the next 3 years if they don't implement AI into their company as fast as possible. And these are some stats that show that an average human sales team is costing companies between $4,000 and $50,000 a month, depending on how many sales reps they have. The average sales rep needs between $4,000 and $6,000 a month in base salary plus commission for it to be worth it for them to work for that business. And most businesses needs between 5 and 6 reps to take care of all the inbound calls. And that's going to cost them between $30,000 and $50,000 a month. And still, only 35% of inbound calls from potential customers of these local businesses are taken, because they can't take all the calls. 65% of inbound calls go missing. That means 65% of potential customers of that business go missing. They're missing out on 2/3 of potential deal flow. So just by this stat itself, you can 3x a business just by taking care of all the calls instead of only 35%. The solution for this problem is now we have AI that can pick up the phone and it sounds just like a human when it answers, and it's programmed to pick up 100% of the calls. So these 65% of inbound calls that go missing, although we have a sales team that is costing us $50,000 a month, we can now replace with AI that costs us $150 a month. Because we can implement one AI bot to take care of hundreds of calls every single day. Because AI doesn't need to get paid, and it's programmed to pick up every single call. It never gets sick. It works 24/7, and we can set up an AI bot that answers all of the calls, either from Vapi.ai or Synfil.ai, with taking care of as many calls that are the usual number for an average medium-sized local business. That amount of calls based on the cost per minute of using the AI dialer would cost the AI sales team, even though it's only one AI bot, $150 a month to take care of 100% of the calls instead of $50,000 a month to take care of 35% of the calls. It's a no-brainer for any local business out there. And if you don't want to take my word for it, I'll show you 4 of the most successful entrepreneurs in the world, all preaching AI implementation into businesses as the #1 business opportunity of this decade and for the decades to come.
What business do you start today?
Oh, I'd be hardcore looking at AI stuff. I mean, I think that there's a gigantic opportunity from a service side of AI implementation in small business, Main Street, because I think so many businesses are like, they recognize that they're like, man, AI is scary.
Because listen, being involved early in AI truly is like being involved early in the internet days. And I don't think you're going to have this kind of opportunity again for maybe a decade or two.
You can mess up a lot of things, but if you get the main trend right, you're going to make a lot of money. And conversely, if you don't get the main trend right, you're swimming upstream, you can do a lot of other things right, but you're not going to make a lot of money. So I intentionally spend time thinking about where does all this fit in and where could it be going? What major trend are you most interested in right now? I'm most interested in AI because it is the trend. It is the #1 trend.
Artificial intelligence is going to change everything. It'll have a bigger impact on us than the internet, than phones, mobile computing or mobile networking, wide area networking. You know, it's just going to dwarf everything. And
So now that you know that you probably have one of the biggest business opportunities to ever touch the internet in front of your eyes, I'm going to explain how this business model works. Essentially, what you can do is to offer different AI services for companies. You can offer AI receptionists, AI agents, AI automations, AI workflows, AI assistants. But what all of these do is just to solve one minor problem inside of a business, and that is to automate a small department inside of a local business sales process or their operations. What we do is we sell an AI sales infrastructure, meaning we come into businesses that are looking to adopt AI and we say, look, we can implement this entire package consisting of all the systems that you were using in the past to get new customers, but it consists of AI to make everything 10 times faster, plus our attention infrastructure. Meaning we launch AI generated ads through either Arcas.ai or Creatify.ai. Those are 2 softwares where we can launch AI generated that are way more time and cost efficient for these businesses to create and launch to gain attention from the exact type of customers that they want to attract to their business. We manage the lead flow, and then we call these leads up with an AI dialer from Vapid.ai or Synfo AI. So then we can replace the entire sales team that we're currently costing them between $30,000 and $50,000 a month to only, once again, take care of 35% of the inbound calls. And now we can take care of 100% of the inbound calls with AI that is better. It's programmed to follow the script. It always works 24/7. It never gets sick.
I'm going to share with you all the rules of money that you can follow to get rich without talent, luck, or having a freaking trust fund. And once you learn these rules and apply them, you'll finally be able to stack cash. So in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what these rules are and how I went from broke at 24 to a millionaire at 27 and then being worth over $100 million today. Rule number one, the 4% rule. To get rich, you need to have a number in mind that if you saved up and you were able to live off of that, you would be able to live off the passive income. I know this sounds fucking boring, but true rich means freedom. Freedom means you don't have to work. I'm talking safe, simple, guaranteed, no fucking around, a dollar amount that you live passively off that. Once you get there, everything else is great. The 4% rule, super simple. You take the number you want to make per year, let's say it's $100,000, and then you just divide it by 0.04. That'll give you the number you have to save so you can live off of that easily. Sounds crazy and like a lot of money, but it's not, because if you invest your money and it compounds and grows and you start early, you can get to that place simply. So now that you've got your number, how much you need to save, how do you actually make that kind of money? Rule number two, master a high income skill. If you already knew how to make that kind of money, you'd be making that kind of money, which means you're gonna have to invest in yourself to develop a skill that the world values. That's why it's called high income skill, meaning people are gonna pay you a lot of money for your time to do that work. The best part is that everybody has access to the same tools. The information's out there. It's just most people pretend like they can't solve this problem. You don't have to spend 200 grand to go to some fancy university to learn any of this. You can do it on your own. So here's how you simplify it. All high income skills can fall into one of four categories. The first M is make, means you're a creator. You either edit videos, you create websites, you create video scripts, you create things that other people value. It sounds so simple, but most people never learn how to make a solution. They make a piece of solution, but not the complete thing. The second M is market. If you know how to get somebody to pay attention and redirect that focus to buying something, people will pay you a lot of money to do that for their business, to get customers. Even more important than the next one, which everybody talks about, which is monetize or sales. Like the ability to talk to somebody and get them to part with their money, incredibly valuable. But if you're asking me which one's more valuable, marketing or sales, marketing's more valuable. Sales is just easier to learn. And the final one is manage. People pay top dollar to have somebody come in and manage a project, manage an outcome, manage a problem for them. So the way I look at it is four components, and you can look up Ikigai. What do you love? What are you good at? What does the world need? And what can you get paid for? If one of those four seems like a default for you, maybe it's marketing or making or monetizing or managing stuff, the key is mastery. Decide to be the best in the world at it and stick with it for at least 1,000 days. Like go all in and find somebody to pay you to do that work. But here's the deal. Even a high income skill won't make you rich if you don't own anything. Which brings us to rule number 3. Don't work for your money, make your money work for you. This one's gonna be hard for people to understand because the whole world is trying to convince you to do this, which is work for a salary. The only way you're gonna get really rich is to own a part of the business. Wages might feed you, but ownership frees you. See, if the accountant, the lawyer, the doctor goes on vacation, guess what? It's not the cost of the vacation that's the most expensive thing for them. It's not working. The truth is those people are highly paid, but they're not rich because they don't have freedom. A business owner creates a machine or an engine that makes money, and they get paid whether they show up to work or not because the machine runs. Owning a piece of a machine is how you get wealthy, but if you want to get there faster, you need to understand what I'm about to share. Phase 1, you have to build cash piles with your high income skills. You literally need to learn how to save. The more you can save, the more resources you'll have to do something with. You can't buy into a business. You can't invest in your business to increase your equity ownership if you don't have any cash. Phase 2 is reinvest in your best asset, yourself, because you will take you with you to every interaction for the rest of your life. And you becoming better, meaning you communicating better, you persuading other people better, you getting other people to support you in your dreams, that investment will pay off dividends way bigger than any other business investment. Phase 3 is to invest those profits or that cash into assets. That's the ownership side. For most people, the simplest thing to do is buy a low-fee index fund, like a Vanguard for the S&P 500, something simple. My son Noah literally has 70% of his savings in an S&P 500. He's 12 years old. The reason I taught him that is because I showed to him that the money works for him whether he shows up or not. He could sleep until 10 a.m. and that money in that index fund did some work. So the best investment other than yourself is in your current business. So that's where I would look first. Then you can look at things that you have an unfair advantage around, things that you know better than most. If you're into cryptocurrency and you're like super passionate and you get paid to help people build blockchains and you're like a nerd about that, go all in on crypto. Sticking in what you know is how you create compound and massive leverage. That's how I built my company. I'm all software all the time. For 28 years, I learned how to code. I built and exited software companies. I started investing in companies. Now I have a venture studio where I launch a new AI company every month because I understood a long time ago, me sticking in things that I have an unfair advantage of, that I can look at deals and assess better than anybody else in the world, is going to give me the returns that are above the market norm. So that's where I invest my free cash flow. And remember, the whole point is to invest into assets and ownership so that you can get to that 4% rule. Then you don't have to work anymore. That's a beautiful thing where you can now choose, what do you want to do with your days? What does your life mean? What is the work? What do you want to create? That is the true meaning of being rich. If you don't own anything, you'll be stuck renting forever. But even with your money invested, how do you multiply it even faster to actually get rich? Which brings us to rule number 4. We have to use leverage, not labor. Leverage means putting a little bit of effort in and getting a massive result. So there's this guy called Archimedes, which is like a Greek mathematician. He has a quote. He says, "Give me a lever long enough and I can move the world." That is leverage. This really hit home for me when I was 28 and I moved to San Francisco. I struggled, man. I literally, my company that finally made me a millionaire also cost me everything in my life. My relationships, my health, my mental sanity. And I almost decided to never start a business again until I met a guy named Naval Ravikant. And talking to him, he's the one that introduced me to these ideas of leverage. Every entrepreneur that masters these 4 areas have unlimited potential of creating in this world without creating massive pain in their life. If you master these 4 skills of leverage, then you can be as rich as you want to be. So the first C is code. Think about software, think about automation, think about AI today. If you can learn how to use technology to get things done, set it up, workflows, automation, you have massive amounts of leverage. A little bit of work today means that it gets done forever. The second is content. When I look at a playbook, a checklist, that's a piece of content, but that content can create a recipe that can have somebody else do something for you 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times without taking any more of your time, right? When I look at the videos that I create here, I can use this video right here to share with all the young men that I mentor at my King's Club program so that they can learn how to get rich. I shoot this video once and it can be seen by 10 million people. Massive amounts of leverage. The third is capital. And capital is about how do I use my money to create more money. So if you think about it, if I have money and I can run ads, I can hire people, I can invest that into opportunities that's going to generate returns, then I can have my capital work for me. I can get massive amounts of leverage. And the fourth is collaboration. It's how do you work with other people? You know, people want to see good people win. People want to help people where they can make money with them. So learning how to partner, learning how to recruit, learning how to manage people, the emotional intelligence of other humans, that skill creates massive amounts of leverage. Think about like all these luminary people like Gandhi and Oprah and The Rock even, or Ronaldo if you're a soccer fan. Those people, because they understand how to communicate, can get things done in the world that nobody else can. That's leverage. It's so cool because leverage is like a volume knob for your skills. If you want to get more done, then you just have to like learn how to ramp up your skill and put the volume up. The more volume you go up, that's the effort that goes down. The bigger the outcome on the other side of that is going to be. And then when it comes to hard work, the hard work adds, but leverage multiplies. See, that's why I call them multipliers, is that you can work as hard as you want. The guy that's changing a roof or digging a hole in the ground, he's working hard. If he understands how to get leverage, he's going to get more done. Your effort stops looking like adding and you start multiplying your outcomes. And in fact, the biggest leverage for most people, and this is true for me, is hiring an executive assistant. Somebody that can buy back 10, 15, 20 hours of your week doing mundane tasks, things that don't add value to your work, don't add your skill set, don't teach you how to invest your money. Most people struggle with understanding what to give them. So if you want access to my internal EA playbook that I use, it's like 27 pages of all the best things, over 15 years of perfecting this, just